we finally get to review Revenge of the Sith, one of my favorite Star Wars movies. Hey guys, welcome back to another video on AJ's Thoughts on Movies. Today we're going to be going over Revenge of the Sith. I've already done Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, so be sure to check out those other videos down in the description below. But without further ado, let's get into it. So this movie opens up with a huge flying sequence at the beginning of the movie that really shows us the scope of where we're at in the Clone Wars and how everything has led up to this point. We've got shots where the camera is following Obi-Wan and Anakin in their ships, and we're going all the way through, all around Coruscant, and then finally the big battle. You can see everything that's happening between the clones and the Republic versus the Separatists and the droids, and it's just huge. The Clone Wars is at the peak. Obi-Wan and Anakin are on a mission to save Chancellor Palpatine because he's been kidnapped by General Grievous. If you guys want more details into that, you can watch the Clone Wars cartoon. Let me know if you want me to do a review of that as well, because I totally can. It's great. But in the cartoon, it shows how Chancellor Palpatine was actually kidnapped. I really like the look that they gave these characters. You know, Anakin is definitely more mature from the second movie. He's got that scar. And I also really like what they did with Obi-Wan's character to make him seem like a little bit more mature. In Attack of the Clones, he had that Jedi mullet, and, you know, he was just a brand new Jedi Knight at the time. But now that we can see that he's a seasoned master of the Force, and I really like in the special features how they show and they describe how much effort went into trying to make Ewan McGregor look like Alec Guinness. You know, the makeup artists and the costumers, they spent so much time on Ewan and his facial hair and his hair, trying to even part it the same way that Alec Guinness did in A New Hope. So we're going through the battle, and Obi-Wan and Anakin are finally getting to the Separatist ship, and I love it from the very beginning. Obi-Wan just jumps out of his ship as fast as he can. We then get a couple shots of General Grievous. Fun fact about this movie that you can also learn in the special features, General Grievous was actually based off of the fears of the animators that were creating him. And I think there was 3 of them specifically that they feared: death, insects, and snakes. And you can really see that in that design of General Grievous's mask is a skull. He's got snake eyes, that reptilian eyes, and the extra limbs and his lankiness and even the way he walks make him look more insect-like. I really love the banter that Obi-Wan and Anakin have, just showing their relationship. At the beginning of this movie, it's just probably the best part, that they're in the elevator and Obi-Wan says something like, "Always on the move." So we get into Count Dooku's chambers and we're finally rescuing the Chancellor, and we get a lightsaber fight, and this is like the first 10-15 minutes of the movie, and we're already getting a lightsaber fight with Count Dooku. In the previous movie, it took over 2 hours. I do think that the fight scene in this movie is a lot better choreographed. It looks better. It's more entertaining for us to watch. It's a lot shorter, but at the same time, it's really satisfying. I do feel like Count Dooku was a really cool character, and they kind of wasted him in these movies. In the previous movie, it took 1 hour and 16 minutes just for us to see his face, and here we are killing him off already. The Clone Wars series does a lot better job at making his character really likable, and so it kind of hurts to see him die, even though he's a villain. I think Christopher Lee does a really good job at bringing that character to life, and I think they could have utilized him a little bit more. I really like the scene where Palpatine is, you know, already coercing Anakin, like we're killing Count Dooku, and he says, "Do it." And it shows that Palpatine already has that control over Anakin, and Anakin does what he says. But at the same time, Anakin doesn't leave Obi-Wan like Chancellor Palpatine asked for him to do. And so it shows that he's not completely in Palpatine's control, but there is that pull. So mission accomplished, Anakin and Obi-Wan rescue Chancellor Palpatine, and then they go back to Coruscant, and Padme comes into view. And already I can tell that the chemistry between Anakin and Padme is a little bit better than Attack of the Clones. You know, in that movie, I really didn't buy it. It was really rushed and not done well, and the script was just kind of murdering that movie for me, to be honest. But in this one, it's handled a little bit better, that they've been apart, and you can tell that they love each other, and we find out that Padme is pregnant. You know, the script still isn't perfect because we get scenes like this.
You're so beautiful.
It's only because I'm so in love.
No. No, it's because I'm so in love with you.
But I think Hayden and Natalie did the best they could with what they were given. After Anakin does find out that Padme is pregnant, Anakin then has a dream just like the one when his mother died, and this time it's about Padme, so he immediately assumes that it's going to come true. He feels like he's seeing the future, and he's worried from that point on about Padme and about the baby. I really love this movie because it shows how Anakin turns to the dark side. I know that a lot of people think that his turn is kind of sudden at the end of this movie, which it is, but at the same time, I really love the scenes between Anakin and Palpatine as they're just, walking and talking, where the Jedi don't trust Anakin and he's worried about Padme. Palpatine knows exactly what to say, knows how to praise him and give him everything that he wants so that Anakin keeps going back to him. He then gives Anakin the very thing that he wants, to become a member of the Jedi Council. So he appoints him to be his personal representative. The Council allows it, but doesn't make him a master. Anakin makes a big deal about this, and we get some more whining from Anakin. I gotta side with the Jedi Council on this. I think Anakin is like 24, 23, and he already wants to be a part of the Jedi Council? Come on, dude. Obi-Wan was like that age in Attack of the Clones, and he was just a regular Jedi Knight too. He wasn't on the Council. But the Council will end up appointing him anyway, and this is where Anakin's trust is kind of bent for the Jedi. The Council give him this assignment that he's supposed to spy on the Chancellor and report back on everything that he's doing. I feel like giving this assignment to Anakin is a much bigger deal than this movie makes it out to be. Anakin already not trusting the Council, and here they go doing this. So we get some scenes back and forth showing what's happening in the war, and then we get one of the best scenes in the whole movie of Anakin going to see Chancellor Palpatine, and they have the conversation of Darth Plagueis the Wise. I think this is Ian McDiarmid at his best. I think this moment is when Palpatine won. This is when he got in Anakin's head about what's right, what's wrong, and if it really matters in order to save Padme. Palpatine's going on and on about how the Jedi are limited, and, his last line is not from a Jedi. It really gets the wheels turning in Anakin's head, and he doesn't know what to do. So the Jedi discover where General Grievous is hiding, and they say many times that if they kill General Grievous or capture General Grievous, that will end the war. So they're trying as hard as they can to find General Grievous and to stop the war. Ultimately, Obi-Wan is chosen to take on General Grievous and leave Anakin behind, and we get some of the most emotional scenes in the movie, especially if you've already seen it and you know what's about to happen next. This is the last time that they'll see each other before Darth Vader. And the last words that Obi-Wan says is, "Goodbye, old friend." It's just so good. I mean, this is the last time that they're seeing each other. Everything's perfect. Anakin is showing that he's humble. Obi-Wan leaves thinking everything's going to turn out right. The war's going to end. Nope. Another subtle thing that you can miss in the movie is after the conversation with Obi-Wan, we see Anakin wearing black robes the entire rest of the movie. Where in the beginning he was wearing, light brown, dark brown with black. And Attack of the Clones he was wearing brown and black. And now he's going to be wearing black and black. So I think that the costume design and George Lucas did a really good job at subtly showing Anakin turn to the dark side. And even through clothing, we'll see a little bit later that he sends messages to the audience. Alright, so Obi-Wan's arrived on Utapau. He's ready to take on General Grievous. And I love this scene where he's just sitting up there thinking about what he's going to do. How should he play this? He's being methodical. You even have Ewan McGregor going, But then he just jumps down, throws caution to the wind and says,
Hello there.
I love it. I love that he can be that cocky, and I love that he knows that Grievous is going to be prideful and want to take him on himself, and there's no real danger there. It's so good. When I was younger, I used to think that General Grievous was like really cool. I mean, his design is still really cool, and the fact that he has 4 lightsabers and he can, make more arms pop out of him, that's pretty neat. But at the same time, General Grievous is just like an object. He's a CGI character that doesn't really get developed or anything. And so I wish that this final battle scene of this is going to end the war was between Count Dooku. I don't really buy the last battle, and I really wish Count Dooku was alive and we got to see Obi-Wan and Dooku fight again, because in Attack of the Clones, Dooku defeats Obi-Wan easily, and so it would have been cool to see Obi-Wan grow and show that he is not the same Jedi he once was. So then General Grievous is trying to escape again. We get a little bit of a chase sequence with Obi-Wan on this bird lizard thing, and they're going down, and then Obi-Wan drops his lightsaber. And every time I watch this movie, I'm just thinking, what a hypocrite, man. I seem to remember that your weapon is your life. So we're cutting back between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and Anakin is going and telling Chancellor Palpatine that Obi-Wan is engaging General Grievous and that the war is about to end. And Palpatine, ever methodical, is still playing tricks on Anakin and making him think that he should be a Jedi Master and the Council should trust him. We have different moments like this.
Don't you wonder why they won't make you a Jedi Master?
I wish I knew.
You're 24, you impatient little jerk. Not everything is given to the chosen ones so soon. You already got promoted to Jedi Knight when you shouldn't have. Anyway, this is when Palpatine finally comes out and says that he's a Sith Lord. So Palpatine's talking about the dark side. Anakin's getting a little bit nervous and a little bit confused. How do you know the dark side? And then Palpatine mentions Padme and saving her life, and Anakin finally knows that this has all been set up. He's the Sith Lord, pulls his lightsaber out, and he does the right thing, and he goes to Mace Windu and the Jedi Council and tries to get Palpatine arrested. He doesn't kill him like he wants to. Right now, Anakin's doing all the right things. Mace Windu tells him to hang back, doesn't want him involved, and it's good advice, because he knows what's about to happen. And then we get another great scene in the movie where Padme and Anakin are separated, and they're both staring off into the sunset, and we just cut back and forth between one and the other, and they're both almost like crying, like they can feel each other, they can feel what's about to happen, and I never got this in the theatrical DVD release that I have, but in the Disney Plus version, there's an extra part where you can hear Palpatine's voice in Anakin's head saying that if the Jedi destroy him, there will be no hope of saving Padme. And that's when, Anakin starts crying, and he knows he's got to go stop Mace Windu. Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, and a few other non-named Jedi are going to arrest Palpatine. They're taken out like that, and we get another lightsaber sequence between Samuel L. Jackson and Ian McDiarmid. So Ian's a pretty old guy, and Sam Jackson isn't necessarily known for doing fight scene choreography, so this fight isn't very interesting at all. It's just sort of happening because we need it to happen, because we need more drama for Anakin. Then we get some of Samuel L. Jackson's worst acting, in my opinion. I get it, it's CGI everything, you gotta react to something, but I feel like Attack of the Clones was still better than this.
Don't listen to him, Anakin!
Anakin's made his choice, cuts off Mace Windu's arm, and we get, Emperor Palpatine in all his glory showing up, and we get the dawn, the birth of Darth Vader. But why is he called Darth Vader? I wish they kind of went into that a little bit more. In German, Vader means father, so it makes sense in Star Wars, but Vader? We have Sidious, we've got Plagueis, we've got Tyrannus. Vader? Anyway, Anakin then pledges himself to Darth Sidious. Palpatine says that we need to destroy the Jedi, and growing up I always kind of thought that the turn from Jedi to Sith was kind of fast, and we don't know why he's all of a sudden, slaughtering children and killing all of his friends. But there's one line in the movie that you pay attention to specifically and kind of answers this. Palpatine says, go to the temple, wipe them out, only then will you be strong enough in the dark side to save Padme. So, it's because he's doing all these unspeakable acts, it's because he's killing younglings and being a murderer, that he's getting stronger in the dark side. And it makes sense as we go throughout the movie and he returns to Mustafar, takes out the Separatists. The more people he's killing, that's when we get the Sith eyes. That's when we get more of his conviction and that he's committed to the dark side and to Palpatine. Darth Sidious sets in motion the war, and so he has all the control, and now he's going to execute Order 66. I don't care if you're a Star Wars fan or not. The score of this movie with John Williams and the amazing effects that ILM did and the cinematography that George Lucas set up, this scene just hits you so hard. Especially with moments like when they kill Ki-Adi-Mundi, that they're running, we get that close-up of their feet, that they're no longer going to follow him, they stop in their tracks, and it's just betrayal and heartbreak, and then we get scenes of Master Yoda, who's a complete CGI character that usually is a big problem, but we actually feel the gravity of the situation. It's so sad. We can feel all the loss of the Jedi, all these people dying, these people who have been friends with the clones. Again, in the TV show, we see that relationship developing, and we see them fight with one another and for one another and protect one another. And now they're just going to throw it all away. And this is the extermination of the Jedi that leads to the formation of the Empire. And it leads perfectly into episode 4. Another fun fact, that kid that's defending Senator Organa at the Jedi Temple is actually George Lucas's son. So his son got to star in the movie. That's pretty cool. So we're seeing the beginning of the Empire. We're seeing that Palpatine is actually still in control of the Senate, and he forms the Galactic Empire through democracy, through executive powers that everybody's given him. It's legit. It's not just a hostile takeover, but it's the mistakes that people have made that have led to this moment. While the Senate is in session, Obi-Wan and Master Yoda are going to the temple to try and save as many Jedi as they can by reversing the message and saying, stay away, don't come. It's here where Obi-Wan learns that Anakin is actually the one behind all of these atrocities, and Obi-Wan and Master Yoda begin their last effort to stop the Sith. So we finally get to the climactic battle of the movie. Everything's been leading up to this point. We have 2 different battles going on, one between Master Yoda and Darth Sidious, the Master of the Light Side and the Master of the Dark Side, and then we have Anakin and Obi-Wan, 2 brothers, master and apprentice, light versus dark. I do think that the battle between Master Yoda and Darth Sidious is better than the one between Yoda and Dooku. That one was kind of just flipping around and nothing really happening, whereas this one they're using the Force, they're jumping around. Both of them are CGI characters, so they can both keep up with one another. But at the same time, because both of them are just CGI characters, it doesn't really have the weight that the other fight does with all the close-ups, and you can tell that they practiced the choreography for this. But it's still cool and still a lot better than Attack of the Clones. But the fight scene between Obi-Wan and Anakin is one of the best in Star Wars. I just love it so much. You can tell how much Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor put into this. You can tell how much they practiced for months on end, doing every movement perfectly. It feels raw, it feels evenly matched. They match each other blow for blow. In certain scenes, they're actually doing the same move to show that they're equally matched. This is another moment in the film where the clothing that they're wearing is a perfect metaphor, you know, Anakin's all in black and Obi-Wan's in white, and it's that perfect yin-yang going on, and they're both using blue lightsabers. I think that's so cool. The environment that they're in even fits the battle. You know, as things get heated, so does the planet, and they're getting closer and closer to each other. Then we get that moment where Duel of the Fates starts playing, and that's when you start to reminisce about the beginning. You know, watching this from the very beginning, Phantom Menace, Duel of the Fates was playing because we didn't know what was going to happen to Anakin. And here it is again, Duel of the Fates. Who's going to win, Anakin or Obi-Wan? Master Yoda or Darth Sidious? It's the fate of the Jedi, it's the fate of the galaxy, it's the fate of the Republic. All of this stems on this one battle. Even the part where Obi-Wan jumps up and says, "I have the high ground," that's a callback to Phantom Menace because Darth Maul had the high ground and Obi-Wan overcame that and still beat him. Now Anakin wants to prove that he can do the same thing. When Obi-Wan's saying don't try it, he knows what Anakin's going to try and do. The battle is over and we get some of the most heartfelt dialogue in the film. Obi-Wan is pouring his heart out saying he didn't want this to happen. He thought Anakin was going to bring balance. You know, last time he saw him, he was so proud of him. He knew everything was going to be alright. Somehow we got to here. And then Anakin says, and it's only after Anakin says, "I hate you," that Obi-Wan says, "You were my brother. I loved you." I feel like Ewan McGregor does a fantastic job at just bringing the emotion to this scene and playing it perfectly, that the audience just feels how Obi-Wan cares. Obi-Wan didn't want to kill him, and that's why he walks away as Anakin's body is slowly being burned to death. We then get some really cool scenes visually as we're crossing over between Padme having Anakin and her child, or in this case twins, but we also, at the same time, we have the birth of Darth Vader as we, the audience, know him. He's being built as she is having the babies. I think that is so cool visually as we cut back and forth between the two. I think another cool little moment is when the mask of Darth Vader is descending on Anakin. You can see that little flicker of fear in his eyes, but then he kind of rests down and, you know, you get that feeling of, I've made my decision, this is who I am now. We then get the return of James Earl Jones voicing Darth Vader. It's so cool to hear him, you know, with that new shiny Darth Vader suit. But then they gotta go and ruin it by I love how the last words that Padme says are, "There's good in him." And that's a nod to Return of the Jedi where Luke says there's good in him. And I feel like they did that on purpose because Obi-Wan was holding Luke as Padme is saying that. So it's almost like he heard that and that's how he knows that Anakin is still good and that Darth Vader can be saved. After the children are born, the Jedi decide to disband. Master Yoda goes to Dagobah and Obi-Wan goes to Tatooine to watch over Luke. I love the final scene of this movie of Obi-Wan carrying Luke in his arms. There's no dialogue at all, just John Williams' score playing Luke's theme the entire time. And then as Obi-Wan's walking away, Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, and Luke are all looking off into the sunset, and we get that classic scene. Honestly, it just makes me want to start New Hope. There's so many different callbacks to this movie that just tie in perfectly, and you can tell that George Lucas really was telling one story from the beginning. Okay, so let me give you my final thoughts on the film. I think that Revenge of the Sith is one of the best Star Wars films. I think it's by far the best as far as the prequels are concerned. I think that the acting is really good. I think that the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan is explored a lot more, and we can see that they really were friends like Ben describes in A New Hope. We can see the creation of the Empire. We see Order 66 being executed, and we see all the Jedi being executed. The lightsaber battles are choreographed really well to where we feel like they're actually hitting. But I think that this movie does a good job at showing who Anakin was, who Darth Vader is, and how it all happened. It shows better than any of them how Darth Sidious started the war, how he's behind everything, how he got into Anakin's head, and why Anakin feels like he can't go back on his decision in the original films. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any other opinions about this film, you think I missed something or you want to add, let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, please drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I really enjoyed reviewing the prequel Star Wars movies and I can't wait to get started on the originals. Let me know if you guys have any movies that you want me to review. Comment down below what your favorite Star Wars film is. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can know exactly when my next video drops. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, that's all for now guys. See ya.